And do you remember about the sports on the canal, the water sports?
No, I don't. That was after I was married, and I don't think I ever came
Yeah,
down to it.
yes. Because that was very popular.
Yes, it was.
before
I
the
forget
war.
which holiday. I think it was August Bank holiday.
Whitsun, I think.
Whitsun was it?
Which won this sports.
Yes.
Yes. What about the canal while you've been here? That's changed a lot.
Yes, when we were young, our dining room was the bow window looking onto the canal. Edwardian children, as you know, had to behave very well at meals. But the one thing we were allowed to jump down from the table and run to the window was when a barge came by. So they were beginning to dwindle. You've got to go back to my father's time when there were a lot of barges on the canal. By this time the railway had taken so much of them off it. So, I mean, I don't know how many there'd be a day, perhaps 4 or 5.
And they were carrying what?
Oh,
Coal?
goods. No pleasure barges.
No.
All
Did
goods.
they carry coal?
Oh, I think so, yes. I think they carried coal. And they carried wheat. They used to take
grain,
a lot of the the farmers' produce.
Yes, I'm sure they did. All sort of bulk stuff.
Yeah, yes.
And do you know much about the railway in its early days?
Well, we always went on it, of course. That was our treat, to either go to Newbury or to Reading sometimes. And of course our summer holiday we always went on the railway. But we didn't go much in the week, I don't think. We took our pony trap mostly to Newbury.
Yes. And that was, well, before the Bath Road was there, but it wasn't dual carriageway.
No, it was kind of not tarmacked.
Really?
Tarmac didn't come in till after the First World War. So Bath Road during the First World War with the military traffic was a quad mile. It was hardly walking along it, great ruts, but it was, of course, entirely used by getting troops and equipment about.
Yes. So even that road wasn't
Yeah, it
sealed,
wasn't, well, I suppose they kept it up to a certain degree, but it wasn't tarmac.
wasn't it?
No. And of course, as I said about the milk, the dust used to fly off the canal bridge onto the milkman at the front door with his can of milk and jugs.
So this High Street wasn't tarmac.
No.
When was that?
Tarmac didn't come until after the First World War, but I suppose I wasn't sufficiently interested at that age, being only about 20, to kind of connect when it did.
No.
But when cars became more numerous, I think that was when it came in.
Yes. Probably in the 1920s.
That's right. Because I do remember the cars, just even after the war, clouds of dust coming up behind them. My mother, I remember, wore a, veil that she put all over her face. Clouds of dust.
And do you remember did you have main drainage here and main electricity?
No, that didn't come. Main drainage, I don't know when that came. I think we had a lavatory and a bathroom, so it must have come in the last century. But it went along the canal only about 50 years ago. And electricity didn't come into Hungerford till the 1920s. My father didn't put it in his house until the early 1930s. We still had gas.
Yes.
Incandescent burners,
Yes.
in mantles.
And gas lighting in the streets.
Gas lighting in the streets.
Yes, of course Hungerford had its own gasworks.
Yeah, yes, the gasworks in Charnham Street were very busy, I should imagine.
Well, tell me what you were telling me about the lamb's tails, about the butcher. We'll have that on record.
Yes. Only in the spring did they kill lambs in those days. There was no going through the season with lambs always ready to be killed. And the butcher boy always brought down a big basket. It was nothing but lamb's tails covered with a lovely white napkin. And there they lay. I can see them now, all these little tails, skinned and clean, ready for the cook to in the kitchen to make them into lamb's tail pie, which was really a great favourite with the Edwardians.
Yes, and very cheap.
Yes, very cheap. Well, everything was cheap. Meat was very cheap.
I don't remember lamb's tails, but I remember ox tails.
Yes.
Which is the same thing.
No, lamb's tails definitely disappeared in the First World War. then the butchers hadn't got time to skin lambs there, I'm sure. I expect they were all just chucked into offal, weren't they?
I expect so, yes.
I've got it here. You might like to glance at this, because it's beautifully written by my father. 10 years of housekeeping accounts. Petty cash, not... And you can just glance through and see the prices.
Can I glance at that a bit later? We'll
Yes.
continue with the... I'll put it there.
Yes, because that gives the wages of the... my nanny had £19 a year, I think, and the cook was £17, and the house parlourmaid was 12.
Yes. Now,
Yeah.
if we paid those wages today, we could employ all the unemployed people.
Yes, I know.
But we can't afford to.
No.
I suppose you think the population has increased a lot?
Oh, when I was young, the population, and that I think was when I was getting adult, only 3,000.
Yes.
I don't know what it is now.
I think it's about 6. It's doubled.
Yes.
Even so, it's not very
too bad, is
expensive, is it? And what about, was there any unemployment around there?
Well, that, I can't remember.
Probably didn't.
No, I don't think there was things like a dole then.
One didn't, it wasn't sort of, we didn't have television and it didn't press into your life,
wireless or anything like that.
But I was talking to somebody else and they said there was no unemployment because the farms employed the men on the farms, the big houses employed the girls in the house, and there was always a job, and the shops employed errand boys and so on.
And as I said at the end of this, which I added after I'd given that talk, that a house of this size, with only 2 children and 2 parents, had a nanny, a cook, a house parlourmaid, a woman for the rough, a gardener, and a gardener's boy.
Yes. So you as a family were employing a lot of people.
Yes, yes.
It's a pity things have changed, isn't it? And as you say, the wages were very small.
Very small, yes. They're all authentic in that book.
Yes, yes. Tell me more about this private school here, Mrs. Froome's school.
Oh, it was an excellent school, evidently for teaching, because I had, when I went to Cheltenham College, the new girls in those days, now that's all altered because it was miserable, had to go 2 days beforehand. There was only a little girl of 10 and 2 other girls were much older in my house, and we kind of stuck together for 2 days and went to college to write our exam. But the verdict was, said to my parents, that she'd been very well grounded. So Mrs. Froome, who ran the school with her daughter, Miss Froome, must have been well educated.
Well, they got a good grounding in those days,
yes.
which is what they don't get today.
No.
Miss Froome was a strange creature, wasn't she?
She was rather strange. She never married, and she was rather strange. I didn't have so much to do with her because I left there, you see, when I was 10 to go to Cheltenham, and the younger ones would talk down the stair room as you go by the first room, leaving our house, by Mrs. Froome. And Miss Froome had a room upstairs over there looking over our garden for the older ones. But mainly it was for younger ones, but some girls did stay on. Dolly Platt, the youngest one of that family, was so homesick and hated the thought of going away that they let her finish her education up to about 17 there.
Really?
No, they did.
And what were you taught? You weren't taught all the wonderful things they were supposed to learn today.
No, the only language we were taught was French. We weren't taught German. I had to learn that at Cheltenham.
Did you do Latin or not?
No,
not
we
at
didn't
that
do
age?
Latin.
No.
It was chiefly
Too young.
reading, writing, arithmetic. I expect rather primitive, but it was, as they said at Cheltenham, good grounding.
Yes, yes. Very good.